Hello, I'm Jeffrey Ross. Recently, I had a phone conversation with you about a home you had posted on the Zillow.com website. As the CEO and general partner of the Ross Real Estate Group, this audio CD was sent to deliver a clear message to you, the owner of record of the property listed on Zillow. And that message is that I want to submit a written offer to purchase your property that you had listed as a rental. The Ross Real Estate Group, LLC, is a real estate investment company headquartered out of Millbrook, Alabama. We employ a small staff of 21 people and specialize in purchasing single-family dwellings under the terms of lease option or rent to own. Over the past 19 years, we are on pace to average 6 to 10 investment property acquisitions a month with our exclusive home buying program. The Ross Real Estate Group has been in existence since February 2007. And over that short period of time, we have experienced tremendous success with our innovative lease option concept. Approximately 80 to 90% of the nice homes on the real estate markets that we buy each month was listed as a rental on the Zillow website. Therefore, interacting and talking with these homeowners has become an integral part of my company's house buying program and overall philosophy. Once I decided on the home that we want to buy, our real estate attorney will draft up a purchase offer in my name as the designated representative from my company. Now, what I want to do with you at this point is review with you what's called our markup sheet. The markup sheet is a simple preliminary look at the real numbers of a buy offer that we will give to the homeowner, the basic terms of how I propose to buy your house under the conditions of a lease option purchase. You will send this audio one of two ways. It was either emailed to you over the internet or we sent it by regular mail, and we gave you the choice. Now, if you receive this audio by email, that means that you are listening to me on your computer. As you listen to me explain how we draft up the markup sheet to buy your house, just follow along with me by strolling on your computer screen with your mouse. If you receive this audio in regular mail, you will find an audio CD within the large brown envelope, along with a set of documents that says at the top, "Let's start here." This is a preliminary markup to buy your house from the Ross Real Estate Group. Let me take a quick minute to explain exactly what a markup sheet is and how it will show you the bottom line cash price we will draft a check for in order to purchase your property. The markup sheet is not the entire offer to purchase your house. It is only a condensed or short version of our buy offer. The reason why the Ross Real Estate Group prefers to forward a summary of the main numbers is because, like I aforementioned, on average, we buy 4 to 10 houses a month. Therefore, over the years, we have come to learn that the best way to present our offer to buy a house is to first present it directly to the owner of the property in its most simplified form. The markup sheet that I'm about to review with you on this audio will give you a firm understanding of the basic of the numbers of our offer to buy. The basics are, number one, how much we are willing to pay for your house. Number two, how much of a down payment we are willing to pay. Number three, what terms and conditions we are willing to buy under. And the last one, the terms and conditions is the one that we want to focus your attention to because we purchase all of our houses under the terms of a lease with an option to buy, or again, as I aforementioned, what's commonly known to people as a rent to own. This is the new savvy way people who had their houses on the market for an extended period of time, and I'm talking 6, 8, 10, some up to 12 months at a time, These people are learning to sell their homes at record speed. Continue listening to this audio. You will come to understand that you don't have to continue to wait month after month, hoping to find that all elusive buyer, that 1 in 100 qualified home buyer. Instead, at absolutely no cost to you, our company will go to our home buyers list that we presently have about 15 people on the list. Locate a good family with an excellent employment history, the monthly income that can comfortably support your mortgage payments, and work with them to get them qualified to buy your property at your purchase price. This is the real way to finally sell your house and move on with your life. Okay, let's get started with the markup sheet. Either stroll or turn to the page that says at the top, let's start here. The first thing that you'll see is a photo of the property that they had listed on the Zillow website as a rental. The address is 7338 Tampa Drive, Pensacola, Florida, 32526. Next, you'll see their home had $46,786 worth of equity. Now it's my job to get them every dime of that equity. This house that they own in Pensacola was on the market for over 11 months with little or no activity from buyers. Now let's turn to the next page, and you'll see where it says at the top, the markup sheet for, and again, you'll see the owners of record for this particular property, Lucas and Sophia Campbell, and their property address. When I agreed to list the home on my website as a rent to own, I set the lease option fee at $5,000. The option fee is the upfront fee paid to me by the tenant buyers I qualify for the property that secures the purchase price down the road when the home is sold. Next, below that, you'll see lease option price to buy the house, $192,500. Jeffrey Ross purchase price to Mr. and Mrs. Lucas and Sophia Campbell. Understand, they were asking $192,000, and I met their asking price through listing the house as a lease option. Next, you'll see Jeffrey Ross consulting fee, $5,000. This is the amount our client, the tenant buyer, will pay to Mr. Ross for our contract assignment / financial preparation services. As a rent-to-own financial consultant, it's my job to locate and qualify a tenant buyer. When I collect the lease option fee that's required to secure the property, I will keep the fee as my compensation for the work that I do in putting the entire lease option transaction together. Next on the markup sheet, you'll see increase and adjust the lease option purchase price. In this example, $197,500. Jeffrey Ross will add his consulting fee of $5,000 to the purchase price that the tenant buyer will pay. Now, what I'm going to do here is add the lease option price that we will pay the seller to buy the property, which again was $192,500. Then we're going to add my consulting fee, which is the lease option fee of $5,000 together, and that will bring the purchase price up to $197,500. This total amount is what we will put on the lease option purchase contract to our tenant buyer, who will pay to buy the house from myself. Now, did you see what I did? I paid the sellers, the Campbells in this example, $192,500, but I will resell the same property to the tenant buyers at a higher price of $197,500. Let's take a closer look at how this is broken down on the markup sheet. You'll see A, the tenant buyer pays the consultant fee of $5,000. We will pay this in advance before they ever move into the property. Important point here. It's the tenant buyer that I find and qualify to move into the property that pays my consultant fee, not the owners of the property, Mr. and Mrs. Campbell. Therefore, my services are completely free and at no cost to the seller of the property. When I locate the tenant buyer, they must have the $5,000 in advance before they are ever allowed to move into the property. Next, C. The consultant fee of $5,000 is non-refundable option fee that the tenant buyer will not get that money back. Should they change their mind, they will know going in, and it will be clearly written in all the contracts that they will not get a refund for this money. And D, when the tenant buyer qualifies for a new mortgage loan with the bank, it will be for $192,500. Now understand, they will not be applying for a mortgage loan of $197,500, the full purchase price that we will sell the property to them. Because remember that they would have already paid us an advance payment of $5,000 up front as a requirement before they ever move in. Therefore, they will only need to attain a loan for $192,500. Next we read, Jeffrey Ross gives a portion of his consultant fee to the seller, $1,000. This is the amount that Jeffrey Ross actually gives back to Lucas and Sophia Campbell, the owners, from his consulting fee of $5,000 that he collects from the tenant buyer. Now let me explain what this paragraph is actually saying. Like I aforementioned, it's my obligation to collect a $5,000 lease option fee from the tenant buyer. And it is customary in this industry for the consultant to keep the lease option fee for his compensation for the work that he or she does in putting the lease option deal together. Well, I don't feel that it's fair to keep the entire $5,000 as my fee. I believe some of that money should be returned back to the owners of the property who first agreed to sell the house to me in the first place on a rent-to-own arrangement. In this case, I voluntarily agreed to give back $1,000 of the $5,000 lease option fee back to the sellers, in this case, the Campbells. You see, note, Jeffrey Ross is one of the few rent-to-own financial consultants that voluntarily gives back a part of his consulting fee to the homeowners. I want my offer to lease option a property to be beneficial with extra money going to the sellers at the time of the lease option signing. Next, on the markup sheet, it reads, what the sellers are now actually receiving for their house, $193,500. If I'm giving $1,000 back to the sellers, then I need to account for this extra payment. It reads, therefore, if you take the original purchase price of $192,500 and add the $1,000 extra payment Jeffrey Ross will give back to Lucas and Sophia Campbell, they are actually now receiving, and this is the important point, $193,500 for the sale of their property. Next, Next, you'll see where it reads, seller's concession, $3,600. The concession is simply a set amount that the owners voluntarily gives the tenant buyer that will assist them in some of their closing costs, but help to complete the financing. Many refer to this as rent credit. With a lease option, there is what is called a rent credit. The rent credit is actually nothing more than a seller's concession at closing. Now, the seller actually won't write a check for the concession. It simply comes off their side of the HUD-1 statement when we close. Typically, the buyer will ask for a full amount for a rent credit allowed by the lender, which for FHA mortgage can be as high as a whopping 6%. And on top of that, the fees and commissions the seller will be required to pay. Now that's a lot of money coming out of my seller's pocket at closing. Rather than see that happen, we just like to have a small set amount which will help the tenant buyer to complete financing. There, I set the concession at a low $3,600. You'll see note, if the owners help the tenant buyers with closing costs, it will absolutely help them sell their house for top dollar. And that's what my overall objective is when I buy on a lease option. And that is to pay as close as I can, full market value, and get the owners all of their equity when we close. Now let's say that we put a tenant buyer in the house and they qualify for the full seller's concession of $3,600. When we close on the house, so let's look at a total amount of the seller's price for the home, again, which is $193,500, less the seller's concession of $3,600. That will equal to $189,900. Next, toward the bottom of the markup sheet, it says, let's look at the total money paid to the sellers before the tenant buyer moves in. Remember when I said that I buy on a lease option? It's my objective to make it a win-win situation for the owner of the property as well. Well, I'm going to advance the sellers upfront money at the time we all sit down at the table and sign the lease option documents with the tenant buyer. Okay, you'll see $1,000, Lucas and Sophia Campbell, upfront partial payment from the option fee. $1,458, Lucas and Sophia Campbell, upfront 1 month rent. Now let's stop here for a moment. When I qualify a tenant buyer to move into one of my homes, in addition to a $5,000 option fee, they are also required to pay in advance a 1 month payment as well. In this example, the rent payment is $1,458. Therefore, if you take the $1,000 and the $1,458 rent payment and add them together, that will come to $2,458. This is the total cash payment that I will pay to the owners of the property before the tenant buyer ever gets keys to their house. This is money that belongs to the owners. In this example, Lucas and Sophia Campbell. They can do what they want with this money at the time of the lease option signing. But here is what I suggest that they do with the money. If they have the house listed with a realtor and the listing agent agrees to work with my company in a cooperative effort to consummate this lease option transaction, then they can voluntarily give the money to the realtor, the 1 month rent payment, to his or her compensation. In this example, the $1,408 rent payment will go directly to the leasing agent who first posted the property on Zillow, where I first located it. Now, I understand that many of you that's listening to my voice on audio has chosen to go it alone, without the help of a realtor. You are what we call in the real estate industry for sale by owner, or what is sometimes called a FSBO. In the event you are the owner of the property and you posted the house on your own, and you are not under any listing contract with a realtor or realty company, then in this example, the entire amount of the advance payment of $2,458 would go directly into your pocket at the time we sign the lease with the tenant buyer. Also, when we qualify and get the tenant buyer a new mortgage loan, you save the realtor commission of 6 or 7%. Now, this would be an excellent way for you to sell your house and save a lot of money in the process. Before we go any further, it's very important that I discuss with you that I fully understand that realtor's commission is not our area to negotiate. And I want to be very clear on this. Either directly or indirectly do we ever attempt to negotiate commissions with realtors. I believe this is one of the biggest mistakes that real estate investment companies make. They think it's okay for them to negotiate commissions. Here are the facts when it comes to commissions. Number one, it's not even our contract. The listing contract for the commission is between the seller and the listing agent. Number two, only those two can negotiate the commission. Now, with that being said, I can and do suggest to the seller of the property that they can offer a 1-month rent payment as an upfront advance payment, and they receive the balance of their commission when the tenant buyer gets qualified for a new mortgage loan. Payment to the listing agent is something that I've got to consider when I submit an offer to buy under a lease option. As I aforementioned, approximately 80 to 90% of the nice homes that I buy are posted on Zillow as rentals. I believe that's one of the things that separate the Ross Real Estate Group from all other real estate investment companies that are attempting to work with realtors and property managers to bring them lease option transactions. Okay, now the last thing that we want to look at on the markup sheet is the bottom line. Look toward the bottom of the page, and we are going to break down exactly what the seller gets should they decide to sell to myself their house as a lease option. As I aforementioned, I'm one of the few rent-to-own financial consultants who voluntarily take part of his consulting fee, in this example, $1,000, and give it back to the owners. I will also collect an advance 1-month mortgage payment from the tenant buyers and give that payment to the owners as well. Now, if you add the $1,000 and the 1-month mortgage payment, again, that comes to $2,458 in the homeowner's pocket. And the last one, E. When Lucas and Sophia Campbell cash out, they will receive all of their equity of $46,486. Now, this is substantial equity that they have built up in their home when they decided to sell to me on a rent-to-own. I didn't try to lowball them on their asking price. I didn't try to beat them out of any of their equity. This is the point of me first drafting up a markup sheet and putting it in the mail to the owners of the property in order that they can see and evaluate ahead of time exactly what I can and cannot do in showing what I can pay for their property. Okay, now let's quickly turn the page. You'll see at the top, this is a summary of the same markup sheet to buy their house from the Ross Real Estate Group. I always enclose a summary of the markup sheet to the homeowners in order to help them review and examine the numbers on the markup sheet. You see, it will have a written explanation of the option fee, the option price, rent payments, and seller's concession, and the total received by the owner of the property. Now, I complete many markup sheets for homeowners, and the only way that I know what homeowner to do a markup sheet and forward to is number one, you pick up the phone and call my office. All you need to say is, Mr. Ross, complete a markup sheet and send it to me. Number two, I'll ask you a few simple questions over the phone, and I'll write up the markup sheet. Number three, within 2 to 3 days, a postal carrier will hand deliver your markup sheet to your door. Number four, you can review the markup sheet that I complete for you. You'll see in writing how much I will pay to buy your house, and you will also see how much advance payment I will give at the time of the lease signing with the tenant buyer. And here's what I ask. Give me a 90-day advertising period at my own cost and expense and see if I can produce a qualified tenant buyer who will give a $5,000 non-refundable option fee. Well, that's it. We have come to the end of this audio CD. I've done my best to explain to you that I will, as a rent-to-own financial consultant, give you the best deal that I can. I give high priority to those who want to talk to me after listening to my audio. Now the economic climate is stagnant, and tight bank money makes it necessary to change the nature of rent-to-own home buying and selling. Many of the old formulas don't apply, and everyone is waiting for a new game plan. The institutions with the money just continue to say no to new home buyers. Buying and selling real estate isn't what it used to be, and everyone is sitting on the sidelines waiting for something to break. My program will allow you to keep your house on the market. Keep it on Zillow, and if you can sell it before we do, you owe us nothing with no penalty. However, if we can buy and resell it and get you your full asking price, you win again. Well, I'm Jeffrey Ross, and I want to thank you for listening to what I had to say. I look to hear from you soon. Godspeed.